Well, a few thoughts about the national left wing media. Despite it all, they've been ignoring a number of unanswered questions about Russian meddling that have absolutely nothing to do with President Trump. Why haven't other intelligence agencies joined with the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and DNI in finding Russia interfered in our elections last year? If those agencies were so concerned about Russian interference, it creates a lot of other questions. For example, why didn't they investigate the best known instance of such meddling, that is, the hacking of the Democratic National Committee, which creates yet more questions? Why didn't Obama demand that the DNC grant the FBI access to its servers? Why, in a critically important matter of national security, did then President Obama do absolutely nothing in response? Nothing politically, militarily, to the obvious meddling in presidential politics last July. Why did then President Obama do nothing when Russia invaded and seized Crimea? Invaded and seized. And when Russia carried out incursions into eastern Ukraine, he did nothing. Does that look and smell like, well, collusion to you? It does raise questions, doesn't it? For example, why didn't President Obama act when Putin's puppet Assad crossed Obama-drawn red lines in Syria? And why did the national left-wing media not report on President Obama's general kowtowing to Putin and to Russia, while they've antagonized President Trump for merely talking about a desire to improve our relationship with Russia? These issues seem to elude our left-wing national media, Dems, and of course, the establishment GOP. But those questions are critically important. Those as yet unanswered questions also raise further questions again, such as where were our intelligence agencies that seem to despise our president, and just how compromised was the leadership of the Obama intelligence community? Perhaps when Republican leaders on Capitol Hill come to their senses, we may have some answers. We can only hope. Joining me now, three members of the House Judiciary Committee who introduced a resolution pushing for Robert Mueller to resign from his Russia collusion probe. Each believes it's time for a new special counsel to investigate the Obama-era Uranium One deal, which gave Russia 20% of the U.S. uranium reserves, and it appears tonight General Sessions has put it under consideration. Here with me tonight, Congressman Matt Gaetz, Congressman Louis Gohmert, and Congressman Andy Biggs. First, gentlemen, I just want to say to you, congratulations. You have actually stirred the mountain. It is moving. It is, in all seriousness, this is the first genuine consequence of a congressional action on this issue that we have seen. And I just want to say, not only congratulations, but thank you. Congressman Gohmert, how important do you think, first of all, this development, Attorney General Jeff Sessions putting under consideration the appointment of a second general counsel to go after the Clinton Foundation to investigate Uranium One?
I think it's absolutely critical. And I've been pushing for this for months. I told President Trump back in early June that, Jeff, if he is recused on all these things, then the president needed to appoint a special counsel. So this is big. And I tell you what, Lou, listening to you go through the list of questions you had, I'm ready to get rid of Rosenstein and McCabe and McMaster's and put you in there. You're dead on. I mean, you're like a bloodhound that's right on the scent. You're asking all the right questions, and those are questions we got to get answers to if we're going to get this country back on track.
Thank you, Congressman. Let me turn to Congressman Biggs. Your thoughts? You've got to be gratified to see the Attorney General responding and publicly.
I am, Lou. I'm glad that he's finally taking some action. We've been calling for that. But I am concerned because in his letter, he said he's going to have it reviewed in part by Rod Rosenstein. Mm-hmm. And I think Rod Rosenstein's part of the problem.
He is.
And I think we need to hold General Sessions accountable and get him to give us a real review, give us a real special counsel, and let's open this thing up and let's follow where it leads. That's my concern.
Congressman Gates, he's going to, the Attorney General will be before your committee tomorrow. To what degree will you be able to inquire with some significant time about these issues and get a sense of where he's headed?
Well, tomorrow will be a very big day in the House Judiciary Committee, Lou, and the American people are tired of one legal standard for the Clintons and then a totally separate legal standard for everyone else in the United States of America. I mean, we have had a special counsel looking into the president for 6 months and have yet to produce any information that suggests there was any collusion. Meanwhile, we have the Fusion GPS head meeting with this Russian lawyer the day before and the day after the meeting with Donald Trump Jr., and we've got Democrats paying Russians to dig up dirt that isn't true about President Trump. That is the definition of collusion. What's totally inappropriate would be to put Bob Mueller and Rod Rosenstein in the mix looking into these things because they are potentially witnesses. Rod Rosenstein's name is on the signature block that sealed from Congress and the American people this important information about a Russian informant, and it was actually Mr. Gomer who went and found that information.
Well, and don't forget, Loretta Lynch is the one that had to especially approve the Russian agents coming into this country when she didn't have a visa, so she could have a meeting with Don Trump Jr., setting him up so that they could then say, oh, look, Don Trump Jr. is meeting with this Russian agent, so now we need warrants to wiretap these people. This stinks to high heaven. And by the way, when push comes to shove, we're going to see that it was Rod Rosenstein and Bob Mueller who's got those records sealed about the full Russian investigation, because if those records were out there where they could be viewed, then it would put Hillary Clinton, well, I don't know how she'll look in stripes, but that's the kind of thing we're looking at if once we get our hands on that case file.
Well, and as you take note, GPS Fusion meeting with the Russian attorney, both before and after, a debrief afterwards in that meeting with Donald Trump Jr. As you say, it stinks to high heaven. We're going to continue our conversation with these three very important gentlemen in just one moment as we try to catch up with what is happening and the investigation. Why we're not learning more about what happened with the DNC, with the folks who put together the Uranium One deal and put all of that money, $143 million, to work at the Clinton Foundation. Was that just a coincidence, or was it a payoff? More with these three gentlemen on what to expect from Attorney General Sessions tomorrow in the House Judiciary Committee hearing, and will there be, in fact, a second special counsel appointed? We'll find out next. We're coming right back. Stay with us.